took his journey with all that he had, and came to Beersheba, and offered sacrifices unto the Elohim of his father Isaac. And Yahweh spoke to Israel in the visions of the night, and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here am I. And he said, I am Elohim, the El of your father. Do not fear to go down to Egypt, for I will there make of you a great nation. I will go down with you to Egypt, and I will also surely bring you up again. And Joseph shall put his hand upon your eyes. And Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried Jacob their father, and their little ones, and their wives, in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. And they took their cattle, and their goods, which they'd gotten in the land of Canaan, and came to Egypt, Jacob and all his seed with him, his sons and his sons' sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all his seed did he bring with him to Egypt. And these are the names of the children of Israel which came to Egypt, Jacob and his sons, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and the sons of Reuben, Hanok, and Phalu, and Hezron, and Carmi, and the sons of Simeon, Jemuel, and Jamin, and Ohad, and Jachin, and Zohar, and Shaul, the son of a Canaanitish woman, and the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari, and the sons of Judah, and Onan, and Shelah, and Pharez, and Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Pharez were Hezron and Hamul. And the sons of Issachar, Tola, and Phuvah, and Job, and Shimron. And the sons of Zebulun, Sered, and Elon, and Jalil. These are the sons of Leah, which she bore to Jacob in Paddan Aram, with his daughter Dinah. All the souls of his sons and his daughters were 33. And the sons of God, Ziphion, and Hagi, Shuni, and Esbon, Eri, and Arodi, and Areli. And the sons of Asher, Zimna, and Ishua, and Isui, and Beriah, and Serah, their sister. And the sons of Beriah, Heber, and Malchiel. These are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah his daughter. And these she bore to Jacob, even 16 souls. The sons of Rachel, Jacob's wife, Joseph and Benjamin. And to Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, which Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bore to him. And the sons of Benjamin were Bela, and Becher, and Ashbel, Gera, and Naaman, Ahi, and Rosh, Mupim, and Hupim, and Ard. These are the sons of Rachel, which were born to Jacob, all the souls, 14. And the sons of Dan, Hushim. And the sons of Naphtali, Jazeel, and Guni, and Jezer, and Shilem. These are the sons of Bilhah, which Laban gave to Rachel his daughter, and she bore these to Jacob. All the souls were 7. All the souls that came with Jacob into Egypt, which came out of his loins, besides Jacob's sons' wives, all the souls, 66. And the sons of Joseph, which were born him in Egypt, were 2 souls. All the souls of the house of Jacob, which came to Egypt, 70. And he sent Judah before him to Joseph, to direct his face to Goshen. And they came into the land of Goshen. And Joseph made ready his chariot, and went up to meet Israel his father, to Goshen, and presented himself to him, and fell upon his neck, and wept on his neck a good while. And Israel said to Joseph, Now let me die, since I have seen your face, because you are yet alive. And Joseph said to his brethren and to his father's house, I will go up and show Pharaoh, and say to him, My brethren and my father's house, which were in the land of Canaan, are come to me, and the men are shepherds, for their trade has been to feed cattle. And they've brought their flocks and their herds, and all that they have. And it shall come to pass, when Pharaoh shall call you, and shall say, What is your occupation? That you shall say, Your servant's trade has been about cattle from our youth even until now, both we and also our fathers, that we may dwell in the land of Goshen. For every shepherd is an abomination to the Egyptians. End of chapter. Genesis chapter 47. And then Joseph came and told Pharaoh and said, My father and my brethren and their flocks and their herds and all that they have are come out of the land of Canaan, and behold, they are in the land of Goshen. And he took some of his brethren, 5 men, and presented them to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to his brethren, "What is your occupation?" And they said to Pharaoh, "Your servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers." They said moreover to Pharaoh, "For to travel in the land are we come, for your servants have no pasture for their flocks, for the famine is sore in the land of Canaan. Now therefore we ask you, let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen." And Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, "Your father and your brethren are come to you. The land of Egypt is before you. In the best of the land make your father and brethren to dwell. In the land of Goshen let them dwell. And if you know any men of activity among them, then make them rulers over my cattle." And Joseph brought in Jacob his father, and set him before Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Jacob, "How old are you?" And Jacob said to Pharaoh, "The days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have the days of the years of my life been, and have not attained to the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage." And Jacob blessed Pharaoh, and went out from before Pharaoh. And Joseph placed his father and his brethren, and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramesses, as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren, and all his father's household with bread according to their families. And there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money to Pharaoh's house. And when the money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, "Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence, for the money fails?" And Joseph said, "Give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle, if money fails." And they brought their cattle to Joseph. And Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for the asses. And he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. When that year was ended, they came to him the second year, and said to him, "We will not hide it from my master, how that our money is spent. My master also has our herds of cattle. There is not anything left in the sight of my master, except for our bodies and our lands. Wherefore shall we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants to Pharaoh. And give us seed, that we may live and not die, that the land be not desolate." And Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them, so the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he removed them to cities from one end of the borders of Egypt even to the other end of it. Only the land of the priests did he not buy, for the priests had a portion assigned them of Pharaoh, and did eat their portion which Pharaoh gave them. Wherefore they did not sell their lands. And then Joseph said to the people, "Behold, I have bought you this day and your land for Pharaoh. Here is seed for you, and you shall sow the land. And it shall come to pass in the increase, that you shall give the 5th part to Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall be your own, for seed of the field, and for your food, and for them of your households, and for food for your little ones." And they said, "You have saved our lives. Let us find grace in the sight of my master, and we will be Pharaoh's servants." And Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt to this day, that Pharaoh should have the 5th part, except the land of the priests only, which became not Pharaoh's. And Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the country of Goshen, and they had possessions in it, and grew and multiplied exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the whole age of Jacob was 147 years. And the time drew near that Israel must die, and he called his son Joseph, and said to him, "If now I have found grace in your sight, put, I ask you, your hand under my thigh, and deal kindly and truly with me. Bury me not, I ask you, in Egypt. But I will lie with my fathers, and you shall carry me out of Egypt, and bury me in their burying place." And he said, "I will do as you have said." And he said, "Swear to me." And he swore to him. And Israel bowed himself upon the bed's head. End of chapter. Genesis chapter 48. And it came to pass after these things, that one told Joseph, "Behold, your father is sick." And he took with him his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, And one told Jacob and said, Behold, your son Joseph comes to you. And Israel strengthened himself and sat upon the bed. And Jacob said to Joseph, El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me, and said to me, Behold, I will make you fruitful and multiply you, and I will make of you a multitude of people, and will give this land to your seed after you for an everlasting possession. And now your 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you to Egypt, are mine. As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. And your issue, which you beget after them, shall be yours, and shall be called after the name of their brethren in their inheritance. And as for me, when I came from Padan, Rachel died by me in the land of Canaan in the way, when yet there was but a little way to come to Ephrath, and I buried her there in the way of Ephrath. The same is Bethlehem. And Israel beheld Joseph's sons, and said, Who are these? And Joseph said to his father, They are my sons, whom Yahweh has given me in this place. And he said, Bring them, I ask you, to me, and I will bless them. Now the eyes of Israel were dim for age, so that he could not see. And he brought them near to him, and he kissed them, and embraced them. And Israel said to Joseph, I had not thought to see your face, and lo, Yahweh has showed me also your seed. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near to him. And Israel stretched out his right hand, and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hands wittingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph, and said, Yahweh, before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the Elohim which fed me all my life long to this day, the messenger which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named upon them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, it displeased him. And he held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. And Joseph said to his father, Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put your right hand upon his head. And his father refused, and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. And he blessed them that day, saying, In you shall Israel bless, saying, Yahweh make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. And he set Ephraim before Manasseh. And Israel said to Joseph, Behold, I die. But Yahweh shall be with you, and bring you again to the land of your fathers. Moreover, I have given to you one portion above your brethren, which I took out of the hand of the Amorite with my sword and with my bow. End of chapter. Genesis chapter 49. And Jacob called to his sons, and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together, and hear, you sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellence of dignity and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, you shall not excel, because you went up to your father's bed, and then you defiled it. He went up to my couch. Simeon and Levi are brethren, instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. O my soul, come you not to their secret, into their assembly, my honor. Be not you united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dug down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob, and scatter them in Israel. Judah, you are he whom your brethren shall praise. Your hand shall be in the neck of your enemies. Your father's children shall bow down before you. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you are gone up. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion, and as an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come, and to him shall the gathering of the people be. Binding his foal to the vine, and his ass's colt to the choice vine, he washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for a haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. Issachar is a strong ass couching down between two burdens. And he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant to tribute. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent along the way, an adder in the path that bites the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backwards. I have waited for your salvation, O Yahweh. God, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a hind let loose, he gives goodly words. Joseph is a fruitful bough, even a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches run over the wall. The archers have sorely grieved him, and shot at him, and hated him, but his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hand of the mighty one of Jacob. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. Even by the El of your father, who shall help you, and by the Almighty, who shall bless you with the blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lies under, blessings of the breasts and of the womb. The blessings of your father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors to the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be upon the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Benjamin shall ravin as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is it that their father spoke to them and blessed them. Every one according to his blessing he blessed them. And he charged them and said to them, I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephron the Hittite for a possession of a burying place. There they buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife, and there I buried Leah. The purchase of the field and of the cave that is there was from the children of Heth. And when Jacob had made an end of his commanding his sons, he gathered up his feet to the bed, and breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. End of chapter. Genesis chapter 50. And Joseph fell upon his father's face, and wept upon him, and kissed him. And Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father, and the physicians embalmed Israel. And 40 days were fulfilled for him, for so are fulfilled the days of those which are embalmed. And the Egyptians mourned for him 60 days. And when the days of his mourning were past, Joseph spoke to the house of Pharaoh, saying, If now I have found grace in your eyes, speak, I ask you, in the ears of Pharaoh, saying, My father made me swear, saying, I die. In my grave which I have digged for me in the land of Canaan, there shall you bury me. Now therefore let me go up, I ask you, and bury my father, and I will come again. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your father according as he made you swear. And Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Egypt, and all the house of Joseph and his brethren and his father's house. Only their little ones and their flocks and their herds they left in the land of Goshen. And there went up with him both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great company. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond Jordan. And there they mourned with a great and very sore lamentation. And he made a mourning for his father 7 days. And when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning in the floor of Atad, they said, This is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians. Wherefore the name of it was to be called Abel Mizraim, which is beyond Jordan. And his sons did to him according as he commanded them. For his sons carried him to the land of Canaan, and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which Abraham bought with the field for a possession of a burying place of Ephron the Hittite, before Mamre. And Joseph returned to Egypt, he and his brethren, and all that went up with him to bury his father, after he had buried his father. And when Joseph's brethren saw that their father was dead, they said, Joseph perhaps now will hate us, and will certainly requite us all the evil which we did to him. And they sent a messenger to Joseph, saying, Your father did command before he died, saying, So shall you say to Joseph, Forgive, I ask you now, the trespass of your brethren and their sin, for they did to you evil, and now we ask you, forgive the trespass of the servants of Yahweh, of your father. And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. And his brethren also went and fell down before his face, and they said, Behold, we are your servants. And Joseph said to them, Fear not, for am I in the place of Yahweh? But as for you, you thought evil against me, but Yahweh meant it for good, to bring to pass, as it is this day, to save many people alive. Now therefore, do not fear. I will nourish you and your little ones. And he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. And Joseph dwelt in Egypt, he and his father's house. And Joseph lived 110 years. And Joseph saw Ephraim's children of the third generation. The children also of Machir, the son of Manasseh, were brought up upon Joseph's knees. And Joseph said to his brethren, I die, and Yahweh will surely visit you and bring you out of this land to the land which he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And Joseph took an oath of the children of Israel, saying, Yahweh will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here. So Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. End of chapter. Genesis chapter 1.